Listen to this.
Hello everyone, today we will enrich our wisdom, the essence of our being, with the ultimate goal of transcending suffering permanently. We will no longer return to suffering. We will come to understand the origin of all things, and this will be our final existence in this cycle. This knowledge is something we have never truly heard or recognized before, yet it has always been with us. However, because we have been unaware of it, we continue to take form in different bodies, shifting from one to another. This body we now inhabit does not last forever. We already know this, don't we? When this body ceases to function, our life essence, our consciousness, departs in search of another form. It may enter the body of a water creature, yet that body too does not last long. It is either consumed by others, or it consumes others, caught in an endless cycle. In this process, we experience anger, hatred, resentment, and vengeance because we identify with that body. We believe we are that form. When the body of the water creature perishes, consciousness moves again, perhaps into a land animal or a creature beneath the earth. Once again, that body is either consumed, consumes others, or perishes naturally. And while living that life, we continue to experience anger, hatred, and conflict. But once that body is gone, our life essence does not die. It simply moves again. Pay close attention to this point. Our consciousness has never perished. It then finds another form, perhaps taking the body of a bird. Once more we believe, this is my body, I am this bird. We continue to consume others, to be consumed, to compete, to fight, and to hold on to resentment. And yet again, that form does not last. Our life essence has never been truly tied to any form. It simply moves on to find another body. To be born as a human is an extraordinary fortune. Yet, once we take human form, we again believe, I am this human being. We are taught language, how to think, how to remember, and how to communicate. We begin to seek sustenance, sometimes taking from others, sometimes being harmed ourselves. We feel anger, hatred, resentment, and compete endlessly, just as before. And still, this body is impermanent, destined to dissolve at any moment. The body is not ours to keep. The moment it ceases to function, our life essence departs to seek another form. The real question is, why does this life essence continue drifting from one body to another without end? We may call it consciousness or spirit, but here I refer to it as the life essence. Why does it keep searching for new forms, shifting from one to another? Each time it inhabits a body, it clings to the belief, this is me. This reveals a crucial truth. The life essence does not know what it truly is. Can you grasp this? Focus on this point carefully. If one begins to understand the nature of this life essence, understands deeply, not through memorization, not through thought, not by taking notes, but simply by listening and allowing realization to arise, then knowledge will settle within without the burden of carrying it. Memory requires effort. Thought requires effort. Even recording something in a book requires effort. But true understanding is effortless. It does not have a fixed place, yet it remains within, removing all doubt. The only way to eliminate all doubt is through deep understanding. Understand continuously, until it reaches the heart, until it touches the depths of your spirit, until it reaches the very core of the life essence, until the life essence awakens. This is the key. Why does the life essence keep searching for a new body? It inhabits different forms, water creatures, land creatures, birds, humans, and with each new form it mistakenly believes, this is me. When that body perishes, the life essence simply moves on again. This proves that it does not know what it truly is. It exists in a state of ignorance. To put it more precisely, the life essence is seeking to know itself. It longs to understand what it truly is. This is where things become more subtle. The life essence does not truly care about the body. It does not even recognize it. Imagine it as a pure energy force, drifting like a transparent, formless presence. It merges with all things, yet it has no shape of its own. It is a fundamental energy, an original element. It drifts into various vessels, into the mechanical bodies of water creatures, land creatures, birds, and the entity known as human. When it enters these vessels, it sends out energy, animating them, making them function. Without the life essence, these vessels remain lifeless, mere shells. Do you see? It is simple, yet profound. Understand this deeply. Before I continue, I want to share that I have created recordings about the essence of life, the universal core of liberation from suffering, and the foundation of world peace. The sole purpose of these recordings is to help every being on this planet achieve permanent freedom from suffering, freedom from the endless cycle of birth and death. This will be our final existence. These recordings are suitable for all: children, the elderly, people with disabilities, men, women, people of all genders, all statuses, all beliefs, all religions, all ethnicities, and all nations. There is no division because the life essence does not differentiate between human and non-human. We are all the same in essence. We all share the same fundamental life energy, this original element, which is perfectly clear and pure. Do you understand what purity means? It is absolute, untouched, without contamination. It exists before all things. Within this clarity, within this purity, there is absolutely nothing residing. No thoughts, no imagination. Pay close attention to this. There are no thoughts within it. It does not rely on thought. It does not rely on mental images. It contains no sound. It has no emotions, no peace, no joy, no sorrow, no excitement, no neutrality, nothing at all. It does not need emotions. And in this purity, in this fundamental state of life essence, there is not even perception, no awareness, no meaning, and no language whatsoever. It is the zero state, a state beyond time and space, neither coming nor going, neither born nor dying. It is an immortal essence, the original force that creates all things. This is what we call the life essence. It is the life essence that has created everything in the universe. And this is who we truly are. If we remove the body, what remains? Only the life essence and its subtle manifestations. Now, remove all manifestations. Remove all sensations. Remove even the sound of my voice as I speak. My voice, this thing you perceive as sound, is merely a ripple on the surface of the life essence. In truth, it is not even sound. It is simply a vibration, a wave that trembles on the outermost edge of this vast, clear emptiness. Understand this deeply. The life essence can be likened to an egg yolk. The voice I just spoke, the sound itself, is like the egg white, a transparent fluid layer that surrounds the yolk. Mental images are also like this clear fluid encasing the yolk. Emotions too are part of this translucent layer, enveloping the core of the life essence. All sensory perceptions, all experiences of awareness, are merely this outer layer. And the body, this physical form, is like the eggshell. If we remove the eggshell, if we strip away all the sensory manifestations, then what remains? There is no body anymore. When the body is gone, only the life essence and its subtle manifestations remain. But now, let's remove the sound. Remove all meaning attached to words. Remove all mental images. Remove all emotions. Remove all awareness of perception. Erase all memories. Erase all knowledge. What is left? Only clarity. Only the pure, pristine essence of life remains. Here there is no darkness, no light. Only an absolute radiant transparency, an untouched purity, a state beyond all form and distinction. When I say nothing remains, I mean that no conditioned phenomena remain, no fabrications, no mental constructs. Yet what remains is the purest essence, the original clarity. It is a presence so clear, so refined, yet intangible. Do you understand? It is like the clarity that exists before your very eyes, yet you cannot grasp it with your hands. Even air exists within this clarity. When the air moves, it becomes wind, becomes storms, creating destruction. Even if a nuclear explosion were unleashed, annihilating everything in its path, do you realize? The clarity itself remains unaffected. It does not move. It does not come or go. It is not touched by any phenomenon. The wind moves violently. Storms rage, destruction unfolds, yet all of it occurs within this clarity, and the clarity itself remains as it is, unchanged, untouchable, beyond all turbulence. That is who we truly are. We are this essence. You have come to listen to my recordings, and I have only one goal, to help you recognize the life essence. That is all. If we come to truly realize the nature of the life essence, if it awakens within us, we will see clearly. The voice that speaks, it is not us. It speaks by itself. It is not even truly a voice. It is simply something that arises. The same is true for mental images. The same is true for emotions. The same is true for awareness itself. It knows by itself. Look carefully. Do you have to make an effort to hear? Do you have to make an effort to perceive? It happens on its own. The moment someone sees this truth, the life essence will awaken and reveal itself. And in that moment, we will understand why this fundamental nature is so pure, so completely untouched. There is no self within it. The life essence awakens when we no longer cling to sounds, when we truly understand that the voice we hear is not us. The thoughts that arise are not us. The emotions we feel are not ours. They are merely appearances, temporary manifestations. This body is simply a tool to use in this world. The voice, too, is just a tool. Thoughts, emotions, whether they are pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, or peaceful, are all just instruments for navigating this world. Even our ability to perceive, our memories, all of these things are just tools. See them for what they are: external, impermanent. They are not us. We are the pure, transparent essence. If we can see this clearly, if we observe carefully, we will realize that all of these things, sound, thought, feeling, arise and know themselves. The moment this is truly seen, tears may fall, a great lightness may arise. The more you listen, the lighter it becomes. The more you listen, the clearer it becomes. Until one day, there is a sudden realization. Is this voice speaking by itself? Is this body sensing by itself? Is this awareness happening by itself? And then, snap, the understanding strikes like a bolt of clarity. It becomes absolutely clear that everything happens on its own, without a self controlling it. And when this is truly realized, the deep attachment to these appearances is severed. The life essence bursts forth, almost as if it is freed from these conditioned manifestations. The life essence had been extending its energy to create these experiences, sending out its force to animate the body, shaping a story, creating sound, sight, emotion, perception. And after relying on these tools for so long, it became accustomed to them, mistaking them for itself. Thus, the life essence clung to the belief that it was human, that it was a creature of water, land, or sky. And from this illusion, it fell into conflict, condemning, fighting, hating, destroying. When the body perishes, the life essence moves to another form, seeking yet another body to inhabit, simply because it has grown accustomed to doing so. And so the cycle continues, without end. Our life essence has taken countless forms, millions upon millions of bodies. If we were to gather all the bones from every body we have ever inhabited, they would rise higher than the mountains of this world. And in each lifetime we have wept, every single time. The tears we have shed are as vast as the oceans of this planet. We have been born again and again, inhabiting form after form. We have suffered in every existence. We have been hunted, harmed, struggled to survive, fought over resources, all in the midst of suffering and hardship. Yet, have we ever truly asked ourselves, why are we born? What do we truly seek? Where did we come from? Why is it that even when we seem to have everything, we still feel an emptiness, a sense that something is missing? And when this body nears its final moments, there arises a feeling, I have not yet done what I came here to do. It feels as if we were meant to find something, but we never found the answer. Do you see? And so the life essence moves on, seeking another body, chasing after the answer to the question, why were we born? Where did we come from? But as soon as it takes another body, it is caught once again in the struggle for survival, feeding the body, sustaining it, locked inside it as if trapped in a prison. Have you ever noticed this? Have you ever asked yourself, why am I trapped in this form? What am I really searching for? And so we live, struggling daily to sustain this body, only for it to age, to weaken, to decay. And in this fleeting time, we fight, we suffer, we argue, we hate, all for a single meal for scraps of paper we call money. We have become slaves to everything in this world, bound by its illusions, locked in a cage we do not recognize as a cage. But we were not born to be prisoners. We were born to awaken, to realize that we are the life essence itself. This body is not ours. This voice that speaks, it is just a tool for this world. Mental images, emotions, sensations, they too are just tools. Nothing among them is us. If we truly understand this, if we observe carefully, we will see. Right now the mouth is speaking. Do you see that it is speaking? The mind is thinking. Do you notice that it is thinking? Thoughts arise inside. Do you see that they appear on their own? Emotions arise. Do you see that they come and go by themselves? Happiness arises on its own. Suffering arises on its own. And then it all disappears. So where is this self? Let the mind answer for itself. Let the life essence recognize this truth for itself. And when the realization arises, there is no self. Then we are ready to be free from birth. A vast openness will emerge and tears may flow, not from sadness, but from an immense release. It will feel as if we are being pulled away from being human itself. And when we are pulled out of this illusion of being a person, we will see, why is this place so pure? Where have I gone? The answer is that there was never a self here to begin with, only life itself, formless and free. The moment we see this truth, that sound is not us, that thoughts, emotions, sensations are not us, something fundamental shifts. Observe closely. How is it possible that this voice is speaking, yet it is not us? How is it that awareness is happening, yet it is not us? Who then is aware of all this? Who is feeling irritated right now? Who is feeling angry? Who is feeling joyful at this moment? Who is experiencing happiness? Who is going through suffering right now? Observe closely within yourself. Ask your own heart. Notice these states carefully. When you see clearly that anger arises on its own and fades on its own, that happiness comes and goes by itself, that emotions emerge, shift, and dissolve without control, when you witness this clearly, the mind will respond. There is no self here. The moment this truth is recognized and accepted, it is as if one is suddenly pulled away from the sense of being a person. It's not so much being forcefully pulled, but rather the very essence of life awakens. When this awakening happens, it is like waking up from a dream. Imagine you are deeply asleep, dreaming vividly, dreaming that you are a human being, that you are a father, a mother, a child, that you have a family, a home, a car, wealth, responsibilities, and an entire lifetime spanning 80 years. The dream feels completely real. You live through all sorts of experiences, taking action in various ways, seeking to free yourself from suffering, seeking not to be reborn. But then, within the dream, you hear my voice on a tape recording. The voice tells you, there is no self. The voice speaking is not truly you. The mental images, the emotions, and the awareness itself are not yours. Observe carefully. These things are not truly yours. They are merely natural phenomena operating on their own. When you recognize this truth, just in that instant, suddenly you wake up, and then tears flow, a great relief arises, as if you have just jolted awake from a deep slumber. Your heart races, sweat drips down your body. When you wake up completely, you realize what you thought was reality was merely a dream. It is like having a nightmare where you are being chased by a ghost. Have you ever dreamt of being haunted? In the dream, it feels real. You run in terror, your heart pounds, your limbs tremble. You dream that a ghost is after you and you flee. You jump into a water jar to hide, but the ghost is inside with you. You leap out and dive into the water, but the ghost swims after you. You surface and climb a tree, but the ghost is already waiting for you at the top. You climb down and try to bury yourself underground, but the ghost is there too. You run into an open field thinking you've escaped, only to find the ghost sitting right on your shoulders. Your whole body shakes with fear. The terror is real. The panic is overwhelming. You keep running, but the ghost is right there, on your head. It all feels undeniably real. Then the fear becomes too much. Your heart pounds, your legs weaken, exhaustion takes over. You collapse to the ground, unable to flee any longer. And there, lying before you, the ghost stares into your face. You look into its eyes, utterly terrified. Your whole body trembles, your muscles tense, sweat pours down, and your hair stands on end. The ghost opens its mouth, its fangs grow longer and longer, until finally it bites down on you. At that moment, you jolt awake. When you suddenly wake up, you don't even know how it happened. Do you understand? You don't know how you woke up. The moment you break free from the illusion, you see the truth, that everything was just a deception. You wake up startled, eyes wide open, body drenched in sweat. And as you open your eyes, you wonder, where am I? Oh, I'm in my bed, in my own home. Was all of that just a dream? The realization hits so hard that you almost want to bang your head against the wall. What you thought was real turned out to be nothing but a dream. It's the same with the essence of life within us. It is only waiting to be discovered. We are this very essence, pure and untouched. We have changed bodies countless times. And each time we take on a new body, we are conditioned, taught to seek survival, to communicate, to think, to remember. We are taught to struggle, to harm, to destroy, to become slaves to money, to scraps of paper. We are taught to believe in the existence of a self, to think it is real. We quarrel, we hate, we compete, we hurt each other, believing all of it to be real. But on the day we finally see the truth, that there is absolutely nothing that can truly be called us, on that day, clarity dawns. Even the voice speaking right now is not truly me, and even this voice itself is not truly a voice. Can you see? These phenomena are merely natural functions operating within this world. Awareness itself arises by its own nature. When you see this and the mind fully accepts it, a profound realization occurs. Listen to my words often. Let them settle in. The more you listen, the lighter you will feel. The more you listen, the more at ease you will become. And one day the truth will burst forth within you. You will come to know that you are nothing but pure, radiant essence, so clear and transparent that it merges with the entire universe. It dissolves into everything that exists. Now, imagine erasing the entire universe. Wipe it all away. Erase the planets, the sun, the black holes. Remove them all. Erase darkness. Erase light. Eliminate everything. What remains is nothing but pure essence, pristine, clear, untouched. This is the original nature. You may call it emptiness if you like, because in this state nothing arises. There are no forms, no objects, no energy, nothing stirs. This is the very beginning. And it is from this very point that the Big Bang erupted, a great explosion from a single point within this vast, pure essence. just like the essence of life within us. Imagine lying still, and suddenly a thought arises. How can I become rich? Out of nowhere, the mind starts to think, I really want to be wealthy. Sometimes it recalls something and fear arises, fear of the unknown, fear of loss. Other times, a sudden wave of anger emerges, or a strong desire takes hold. I want to own a business. I should start a company. Maybe I should sell drinks, soft drinks, bottled water, food. At the moment when a thought arises, boom, a kind of energy forms. The mind begins to place value on something, and instantly the sense of I emerges. I want a business. I want to start a company. In that instant, the sense of self is born. This process is no different from the origins of the universe. Just like the pure emptiness that existed before all things, suddenly, boom, the Big Bang occurred. A burst of energy arose first. That energy began to interact with itself, forming scattered particles of dust. These dust particles, carrying their own charges, started to attract one another, taking shape, becoming the sun, the stars, the galaxies, the infinite universe. Similarly, the essence of life, our original pure nature, became bound to the material world. It began inhabiting fragments of dust, settling into planets that were suitable for life. Over time, it took form within those dust particles, first as single-celled organisms, then 2 cells, then 3. These life forms began consuming one another, destroying one another, devouring one another in order to survive and grow, only to eventually die, for early life had very short lifespans. Imagine if a human body had a lifespan of only 5 days, just 5 days to live. What would happen? The moment it is born, it would immediately start eating, wouldn't it? There would be no time to waste. Eat quickly, grow quickly, sleep, eat, grow. Then as soon as it's able, it will reproduce. And by the 5th day, gone. The body dies. The essence of life moves on to find another body. Now imagine if the next body lasted 8 days. Again, the cycle repeats. The new body starts eating right away. No time to waste. Eat, grow, sleep, wake up bigger, eat again. Then comes reproduction, then aging. Just a moment later, death again. All along this life cycle is driven by hunger, by survival. Creatures consume one another, destroy one another, all just to keep existing for a little longer. One devours another, one bites another, rage and vengeance arise. One attacks, the other retaliates. They keep meeting again and again, life after life. The energy of anger and attachment pulls them back together. That's why some people feel hatred the first time they meet someone, while others feel an immediate bond. Love and hate, attraction and aversion, all of it follows along. And for what? We are all born into these bodies as mere prisoners, trapped within the form, enslaved by it. Is this really all there is? Were we really born just to be locked inside these cages of flesh and bone? To be ruled by hunger, by desire, by anger, by endless conflict? Do you see? None of this is truly us. None of it belongs to us at all. But the moment our true essence recognizes this, that we are not these bodies, that we are pure, luminous life energy merely inhabiting a temporary vessel, then everything changes. If from now on we could teach this to children, to students, to the whole world, we could transform life itself. This is what I am doing right now. I want this to be the foundation of world peace. This is the universal key to ending suffering. If we wake up, suffering ends. If we awaken, we will live on this earth for the last time, without harming one another, without struggle. Why? Because the moment we become aware, the moment we observe clearly, we see that even this very voice speaking, this voice arises by itself. It speaks by itself. But is it really us? Look around. Everything you see, everything you hear, does any of it actually declare itself? Look at a tree. The tree does not say, I am a mango tree. It simply exists. it is only this voice that calls it a mango tree. Look at your own hands and feet. Do they announce, I am a left foot or right hand? Does your thumb say, I am a thumb? Number. The body remains silent. Only this voice assigns labels. Look at the house. Does the house say, I am your home? Number. It is only this voice that calls it my house. Look at the ground. Does it say, I belong to you? Does the world itself declare, I am yours? Number. Only the speaking mind assigns ownership. So who is really speaking? Who is claiming all of this? If this voice is not truly us, then where is the self? Let your awareness answer. Let your essence respond. Observe closely. The knowing within, does it arise by itself? Does hearing happen by itself? Try this. Walk into a bathroom, breathe in. Do you smell something? Did you have to choose to smell it? Can you command yourself not to smell? Try it. Say, I will smell it, but I will not have a reaction. Is it possible? Or say, I forbid myself to laugh. Can you truly stop it? See clearly. Awareness happens by itself. Emotions appear on their own. Even as you sit there, the mind is already thinking, perhaps about buying corn, steaming it soft and warm, eating it as a snack. And where are you right now? Sitting on a toilet. Yet the mind is thinking about corn. Can you see the thoughts forming here? Can you see how they arise on their own, thinking about this and that? They carry different emotions, sometimes satisfaction, sometimes dissatisfaction, and sometimes neutrality. They sense smells, hear sounds, and perceive various sensations. Can we observe how these thoughts and feelings arise by themselves, how they are received naturally? When can we truly see this? And if we can, where is the self in all of this? The one who hears these thoughts, who or what is actually listening? If the thoughts are heard by themselves, then where is the true self? Let the essence of life answer. Let the mind answer on its own. Hold on to this principle well. I have already said that this body will not last long. It is merely a temporary vessel where the essence of life resides, like a clear, radiant energy inhabiting this mechanical form. One thing is certain. If this essence of life, this consciousness, leaves the body, this body will cease to function. Do you understand this? If the mind or the essence of life departs, the body will collapse instantly, decaying in no time. The heart will stop beating. The brain will cease to think, because there will be no consciousness dwelling within it. To be born in a human body is a rare and fortunate opportunity. But once we are here, no one in this world teaches us to truly understand the mind or the essence of life. From birth, our parents never taught us this. Our teachers never taught us this. No one in the world teaches about the inner self, about the fundamental essence of life, about our consciousness. Everyone is lost. We all inhabit these bodies, unaware of their true nature. We have taken residence in many forms before: water-dwelling beings, creatures of the earth, those beneath the ground, those on land, those in the sky, and now, as humans. Yet, has anyone ever taught us that we are not this body but the essence of life itself? That this body is merely temporary, a place we inhabit for a short time? This body will not last. We must urgently come to understand the essence of life. For when it truly knows itself, it will no longer take residence in any form. It will no longer be reborn. It will no longer suffer. Why do we suffer? Because we are born. And once we are born, we must struggle to survive, to feed this body. In this struggle, we take from one another, we harm one another, all to sustain this physical form. When someone takes from us, how do we feel? Do we suffer? When someone oppresses us, making it harder for us to survive, making us experience hardship and deprivation, do we not feel anger, resentment, and suffering? When we take from others, whether food, wealth, or possessions, does it bring us happiness? And does this happiness last? Happiness is merely an emotion. Suffering is also an emotion. Both happiness and suffering arise from the same source. Can we see this clearly? From the moment we wake up until we fall asleep, there are only two types of emotions, positive and negative. We all want only the positive emotions, which we call happiness. We don't want the negative ones, which we call suffering. Isn't that right? But do we realize that both are just emotions? They are simply expressions of the essence of life. Can we see this? We rely on these emotions all the time. Can we recognize that? Can we see our own ignorance in this? We use sound to communicate with each other, but have we ever noticed that sound itself can be used in both good and bad ways? And no matter how it is used, it remains just sound, a mere tool for communication in this world. Imagination is also just a tool for communication. This body is just a tool for communication. Emotions, too, are merely tools for navigating this world. Even the awareness that perceives everything is just a tool for functioning here. If we can recognize that none of these things are truly us, then why do we get so caught up in them? Why do we become absorbed in sound? No matter how sound arises, it is no different from the wind. Can we grasp or hold on to it? Then why do we suffer because of sound? Some people get lost in their suffering, but wait, does suffering have a form? Can anyone mold suffering into something tangible? If it has no form, then why do we sink into it? Who is actually suffering? Suffering is merely a condition. It is not us. It is just an occurrence, something that arises without having a real self. Do you understand this? It's like day and night. They are just natural occurrences. No one owns light or darkness. Imagine this. When the sun rises and brightness fills the sky, does anyone suffer because of the sunlight? Oh, I am in such pain. How could it be so bright? I hate the light. I don't like brightness. Does anyone truly suffer because of the light or because of darkness? Oh no. Why is it so dark? I hate the darkness. I despise it. Does anyone actually suffer just because it becomes dark? Or let's imagine another case. What if someone says, "Why does the wind have to blow?" I hate the wind. I don't want there to be wind. Can we stop the wind from existing? Would someone cry in suffering because of the mere presence of wind? Would anyone suffer just because trees grow? Oh no, I don't want to see trees grow. I absolutely hate seeing trees grow. Would anyone be that foolish? Isn't it the same? Wouldn't we call this foolish? There are only two types of emotions. Actually, there is also a neutral state. There is the emotion of laughter, and then there is loneliness, sadness, anger, and hatred. There is extreme dissatisfaction, and there is also extreme satisfaction. Is there anyone foolish enough to cling to these two extremes? Because the moment anyone clings to these emotions, that is destruction. That is what keeps us trapped in the cycle of birth and death without end. Let's try again. I want to talk about something, the purest, most refined essence. This essence is crystal clear, completely pure. Imagine something completely transparent right in front of you, an empty, clear space that cannot be grasped. There are two types of air, oxygen and carbon dioxide. We prefer oxygen, don't we? And we dislike carbon dioxide, don't we? But does anyone truly suffer because of carbon dioxide? Does anyone feel happiness just because of oxygen? Can you see how we claim ownership over these things? We want oxygen, but we don't want carbon dioxide. But do we realize that we are just this transparent essence, this pure emptiness that is right in front of us? This formless clarity, completely pure and untouchable, is the essence of life. Oxygen and carbon dioxide exist as two opposites. They move within the space of this transparency. If there is more oxygen, does the pure emptiness take notice? If there is more carbon dioxide, does the pure emptiness take notice? Whether oxygen moves rapidly or carbon dioxide moves swiftly, even if strong winds arise and destroy everything in their path, they cannot affect the pure, empty clarity. We are that pure, clear essence, and within this clarity there exists air, oxygen and carbon dioxide, let's say the positive and the negative, they dwell within our clarity, within our essence. We are the source. Without this original essence, none of these things could exist. Oxygen and carbon dioxide move within this clarity. No matter how fast they move, no matter how strong the storm they create, they exist within this pure space. Now, if this clarity is ignorant, let's say it is unaware, it might mistake itself for oxygen. Now I am oxygen. Wake up! You are not oxygen. You are pure, transparent essence. Do not be misled. Now, suppose there is too much carbon dioxide today. Oh, I hate carbon dioxide. I don't like it. I despise it. I only want clean, pure oxygen. But wait. Wake up. We are the pure, empty clarity. This clear, pure emptiness is the original essence. We are the source. Oxygen and carbon dioxide are simply things that arise and dwell within it. And storms? They are merely the movement of air. No matter how destructive the storm is, it is simply air in motion. It is not us. We are the pure, clear essence. Do not be misled. In the same way, what I am pointing out here is to help us see our true nature, that we are the essence of life, pure and transparent. But we do not know this, so we seek out a body to inhabit. And we have changed bodies countless times. We have lived in every form: water-dwelling beings, land creatures, underground creatures, beings of the air, and even in human form. We have been everything. We have been the wealthiest, the most powerful in the waters. We have been the greatest rulers beneath the earth. We have been the most dominant among winged creatures. We have been the highest among human beings. We have been the richest among all forms of life, whether in water, under the ground, on land, in the air, or as humans. We have been it all. But do we realize that all of this is merely a story we are thinking about right now? Do we see that the body is just a material form that exists in this world? And in the end, this body will break down, dissolving into the very elements of the earth. Isn't that right? The voice that is speaking now, the language we use to understand, the thinking, the remembering, the imagining, these are all tools created by the body. When there is a body, there must be a voice for speaking, a mind for thinking, an imagination for visualizing, and emotions to experience. The voice that speaks, the thoughts that arise in our minds, the images we imagine, and the emotions that appear, all of these are just tools for communication in this world. But the essence of life does not need any of these things. The essence of life has only one true purpose. It seeks to awaken itself. We must teach the mind. We must remind ourselves that we are the essence of life. But we have become lost, believing that we are human. Wake up. I am pleading with you. Wake up. We have never truly been born into this world. We have never been human. We have never been anything at all. We are the pure, clear essence. But we have become lost in appearances, lost in what we call sound, lost in thoughts, lost in continuous thinking. But do we realize that the thoughts that constantly arise are not us? They are just occurrences. Imagination is just a phenomenon used for existence in this world. It is not us. Emotions are also just occurrences. Every time we think or imagine, if things turn out the way we want, happiness arises. If they do not turn out as we wish, suffering arises. These emotions are merely ripples on the outermost layer of the essence of life. Consider this. Perception itself is just an experience that functions in this world. Everything is simply a tool that the essence of life temporarily inhabits within the body. It uses these tools for one purpose: to refine itself and come to know its true nature. Yet instead of learning about the essence of life, we have spent our existence learning about everything else, about the world, about the universe beyond, about how the stars were formed, how planets came into being, how galaxies were created. We have studied how this body was born, learning everything about the external world. But has anyone ever taught us where the essence of life comes from? Who are we truly? Why are we here? What do we really seek? Now that we have obtained this body, why have we never learned about the natural truth of the essence of life? Instead, we have spent every lifetime learning how to survive, how to accumulate, how to feel anger, hatred, revenge, conflict, trapped in the same patterns, seeking the same things over and over. Wake up. This is the truth. I am not teaching you to believe. I am teaching you to see the truth for yourselves. Can you see that the voice speaking right now has no form? It cannot be grasped. No one owns this voice. Do you understand this? Look at the thoughts that keep thinking to the point of madness. Yet no one owns these thoughts. And yet, we believe that we are the ones thinking. But we are not the thinker. Thought itself is just a natural process performing its function. It is like the body. When we want to walk somewhere, we simply have the intention, and the body moves on its own. Do you see this? If we decide to go to a certain place, we get in a vehicle, and automatically the legs move, the hands steer, the eyes adjust, the feet press the pedals. Do we need to instruct each part? Right foot, press the accelerator. Left foot, hold the clutch. Right hand, turn the wheel. Left hand, shift the gear. Do we tell our mouth how to speak, our tongue how to move, our lungs how to breathe, or our heart how to beat? Do we instruct our intestines on how to function? No, it all happens naturally. Thought works the same way. The mind is always thinking. The inner voice is always speaking. Can you see it? It functions on its own. Please observe it. See for yourself that the thoughts in your mind arise by themselves. The mental images appear on their own. Emotions arise on their own and fade away on their own. Satisfaction appears and disappears. Dissatisfaction appears and disappears. Can you see that no one owns them? The awareness that perceives all of this, can you see that it perceives on its own? When you truly see this, rejoice. For example, imagine walking down a street. Suddenly, there's a strong smell, perhaps from garbage or something even worse, like the waste of a stray animal. The moment we see it, the smell instantly reaches us. If we can observe that the awareness of the smell happens on its own, if we can see that it perceives by itself, then there is a sudden and profound shift. I am teaching only the truth. I am not teaching you to believe. I am not asking you to memorize. Do not remember. Do not think. Your only task is to observe and follow along naturally. Let go of everything old. Empty your cup completely. Can you do this? Can you make yourself like someone who knows nothing, who has never learned anything before? Simply observe, understand, and follow along. This is a knowledge that no one has ever taught you before. The essence of life is only waiting, to awaken, to be recognized. It is only waiting for us to finally learn from our own essence of life. At its origin, the essence of life has nothing. It is pure, completely clear. In order for the essence of life to come to know itself, it must extend its energy outward, attaching to a body. It creates perceptions, thoughts, imagination, and emotions. It develops these tools, hoping that through them it will eventually evolve to the point where it can recognize itself. We are this clear, pure essence. But we do not know what we are because within this clarity there is nothing, only purity. And within this purity, it begins to be impacted by external forces. When the Big Bang occurred, the essence of life was struck by something, and in response, it extended its energy to grasp onto that force, to experience it, to understand what it was. It attached itself to a body, and from there it began to perceive, to learn, to inhabit, to understand. It recorded images, sounds, and processed them. It began to experience emotions. It used these tools to learn, but in the beginning, no one taught it. It had not yet evolved to the point where it could recognize itself. Since we could not yet understand our own nature, we had to rely on these tools, on thought, imagination, emotion, perception, and the body itself. These are all temporary tools. Eventually, this body will die, and a new body must be taken. Learning must start again and again. It is an endless cycle, a great waste of time. Let's end this now. Let this knowledge bring closure, win this game as quickly as possible. This is the greatest challenge, and yet it is the most exciting one. To come to know ourselves. Look within. Stop looking outward. We have spent millions of lifetimes knowing the external world. That is enough. Now turn inward. Observe the voice that thinks inside. What is it? The mental images and emotions. What are they? The awareness that knows. What is it? Look closely. These things arise on their own and dissolve on their own. Emotions appear and fade away. Thoughts come and go. Observe carefully. They have no true self. They are merely occurrences. When we truly see this, we begin to recognize ourselves. We are the pure, clear essence. Right now, we are attached to the body. We extend our energy to cling to it. We send out energy to perceive what this body creates, to generate sound, to form mental images, to produce emotions, all as a way of communication and learning. As our essence of life continues to rely on these tools, it has only ever learned about the external world. This is because everyone teaches us to look outward. Then, one day, we encounter a teacher who guides us to look within. That is when we begin to understand. When you listen to my words, understanding arises. And this understanding is what starts to loosen your attachment to the body. This body is temporary. It is only the voice that assigns meaning to everything, labeling this as my arms, my body. It is the voice that gives meaning to all things. But where does this voice come from? Is the voice truly us? Does it arise on its own? Do mental images and emotions function by themselves? Does awareness perceive by itself? Then where is the self in all of this? At this point, the essence of life, the real us, begins to feel joy. It realizes that soon it will awaken. Turn inward. Stop seeking externally. Turn within. The more we shift our focus inward, the more we detach from external things, starting with the body. Then we detach from emotions, realizing they are not us. We release them. Just like erasing the body, we erase emotions, letting them come and go as they please. Let them arise and dissolve on their own. Mental images appear and vanish. Thoughts arise and fade away. Keep releasing. Keep stepping back. The awareness that perceives everything, it is perceiving on its own. It is not us. When we withdraw to the very limit, we will come to know the essence of life. Once we realize that we are this pure, clear essence, it will break free. At the moment we see thoughts arising, at the moment we see awareness perceiving, if we can see that these are not us, that they are simply occurrences functioning by themselves, at that moment, everything breaks apart. The essence of life is released. When we detach from clinging to the body, thoughts, imagination, emotions, and even perception itself, when the essence of life stops grasping at these tools, it suddenly snaps free. It is as if we had been sending out signals to grasp onto these things for so long, and now all those signals are completely severed. In that instant, we realize that we are the clear, pure essence. And this essence is vast, light, and completely free. It expands and merges with the entire universe. And then, tears fall. It is as if we have awakened from a dream, after dreaming for millions of lifetimes. At that moment we realize that everything we thought was real, everything we once believed to be us, was never real at all. There was never truly a self. Nothing ever had a permanent existence. And in that realization, tears fall as we mourn the loss of everything we once held as our own. This is how it is. Once it breaks free, everything is lost, completely. The understanding that I was human is gone, entirely gone. And this state remains like this all the time. There is no more suffering. This essence has broken free from everything. It is truly liberated. Yet the body continues to function as before. Thoughts still arise as before. Just as the mouth speaks, it continues to speak. But now it is no longer me speaking. The mental images that arise are no longer me imagining. The emotions that come and go are the same as before, but they are no longer mine. They are simply natural occurrences. Everything is just as it has always been. But it is not me, and it is not mine. Even the awareness itself, whatever it perceives on its own. It has nothing to do with me. I am free. I am the original essence, the pure, clear source that existed before all things. Everything else is merely something that arises and passes away within it. The entire universe exists within our awareness. At this point, everything becomes clear. There is no doubt left about anything. The suffering that once existed is utterly destroyed. Now I cannot even recall what happiness feels like. What does happiness look like? What does suffering look like? These things are no longer known. They have been completely severed. It is as if the emotions that once defined happiness are still present. But for one who has reached this state, they see these emotions as simply occurrences, things that just arise as they are. There is still happiness, but there is no one who feels happy. There is still suffering, but there is no one who suffers. Everything continues as before. The body can still experience pain, illness, and all conditions, but there is no longer anyone who takes ownership of these experiences. Everything is seen as simply nature. And in this, suffering is completely transcended. At this point, there is an absolute knowing that there will be no more birth. No matter what happens, there is no more rebirth. Even if one wanted to be born again, it would not happen. In every moment, there is no clinging to anything. Even while speaking, there is no attachment to the act of speaking. There is no sense of I speaking. There is no perception that this is even a voice. And even in hearing and perceiving, there is no sense that I am the one receiving. There is only nature, functioning on its own. It is free. It is beyond everything. May you all realize this truth. When you listen to these words, clarity will arise. You will feel light, unburdened. Life will become simpler. You will live in peace and harmony in this world. There will be no more harming, no more conflict, no more destruction, because there is nothing that is truly us. Instead, we will simply exist, helping one another, supporting one another, and guiding each other toward complete liberation from suffering. Share this knowledge, spread it to the entire world. Let everyone hear it, integrate it into the education of every student. Let every child listen, play it for them every day. And even for ourselves, listen every day, from morning until night. Let it be there, always. Even while sleeping, even in the bathroom, let it continue to play. And when this understanding takes root, there will be no more birth. There will be no more suffering. It will take no longer than 7 days, or at most 7 months. If it takes longer, it means ignorance still lingers. Do not let ignorance persist. I have spoken with complete clarity. Now it is time to conclude. May you all awaken to the truth of your essence swiftly and completely. May all beings be free.